Let's investigate an age-old problem-solving tool, which can still cut through the white noise of our complicated world. A medieval mental strategy called Occam's razor. At its core, this rule is simple. When you have two competing ideas that explain the same thing, you should choose the simpler one. It is a mental model that helps us find clarity when faced with confusion. It's not a law that is always true, but a guide that steers us toward better thinking. The world throws so much information at us every single day. We're often asked to make decisions with half facts or confusing signals. Occam's razor gives us a starting point. Imagine you're a detective attending a crime scene where an executive was gunned down while jogging in a forest. There are seemingly conflicting clues and many possible explanations. One theory involves a complex international conspiracy and a professional assassin. Another suggests a line of inquiry centered on local known offenders with a history of paranoia and firearm crimes. Occam's razor nudges you in the latter direction, so you have your team scrutinize the shooter's modus operandi and compare his ballistics with historical offenses. And it pays off. The simpler approach quickly narrows the field of suspects, finally leading to an arrest. This powerful rule gets its name from a thinker who lived long ago. His name was William of Occam. He was a Franciscan friar and philosopher teaching in the 14th century. He never wrote down the exact phrase we use today, but he used the principle so often and so effectively that his name became forever linked to it. He believed that we should not invent new or complicated reasons for things if we do not have to. In his own words, he argued, plurality should not be posited without necessity. His way of saying we should never make things more complex than they need to be. His was a call for intellectual discipline and management of our often frantic minds. William of Occam used this idea to challenge the often pointless philosophical and theological writings of his time. How many angels could fit on the head of a pin? Who cares? So why does this rule still work so well? The main idea is that we should always prefer the simplest explanation that fits all the facts. A simple theory has fewer parts. Therefore, by implication, there are fewer ways for it to be wrong. Every extra detail or assumption you add to a theory is another potential point of failure. It's another piece of a puzzle that has to be exactly right for the whole picture to hold. Think of it like building a tower with blocks. A simple short tower is very stable. But as you add more and more blocks, the taller, more complex tower becomes easier to topple. A simpler explanation is also easier to test. For example, if you think your plant is dying because it's not getting enough water, you can test that easily. You can just give it more water and see what happens. But if you jump straight to testing all your plants for poor soil pH, rare fungal infections, or negative energy in the room, it all becomes lengthy and potentially time-wasting. Let's look at an everyday example that shows how Occam's razor works. Imagine you get home after a long day at work. You reach into your pocket to grab your house keys, but they are not there. You check your other pocket, nothing. You check your bag, still nothing. Your mind starts to race. Maybe someone cleverly picked your pocket on the crowded bus, or a coworker with a grudge secretly took them from your desk. These are possible, but they require several unexpectedly dramatic things to be true. Now let's apply Occam's razor, which has also been called uncommon sense, because so few people seem to immediately resort to it when facing a mystery. Is there a simpler explanation that fits the facts? What are the facts? You had your keys this morning, and now you do not. What's the simplest story? Either you misplaced them, maybe on your desk, they fell out on the bus seat, or are on the kitchen counter. These explanations are much simpler and require fewer assumptions. They don't require a skilled thief, an opportunity, a motive, a plan. Following the razor, you would call your office, the bus company, glance through the window at the kitchen counter. By starting with the simplest explanation, you save time, worry, and effort. you focus on solving the problem efficiently. Why are some people apparently incapable of doing this before freaking out on a wild theory? The truth is because some of us are addicted to drama, which Occam's razor would cheat us of. Science provides some of the most powerful examples of Occam's razor in action. For over 1,000 years, the accepted model of the universe was very complicated. Long ago, Ptolemy proposed that the Earth was the center of everything, and that the sun, moon, and planets all revolved in perfect circles. But later, careful observations did not quite match these theories. Planets seemed to slow, stop, even move backward. To save the beloved theory, astronomers added epicycles, circles on top of circles, like a spinning ride that is also moving along a track. Then Copernicus proposed a simpler alternative. What if the sun is actually at the center? It beautifully explained retrograde, an illusion as Earth overtakes other planets like a faster vehicle on a highway. No more epicycles needed. A more elegant explanation, and it was later proved the right one. Fewer assumptions, fewer special rules, and it turned out to be correct. It's no surprise that later, geniuses like Albert Einstein and Stephen Hawking proved to be fans of Occam's razor. The business world is also full of lessons about the power of simplicity. Imagine two new startup companies. Both want to build a daily tasks app. Complex Corp adds everything: lists, calendars, habit trackers, team tools, project charts, even a social network. A 100-page plan with dozens of complex goals. Simple Inc. uses the razor. What one core problem matters most? Help people remember their 3 most important tasks. They build only that. No calendar, no charts, no social network. Complex Corp takes too long and costs too much. Users feel overwhelmed. The team drowns in bug reports. Simple Inc. delivers in weeks, with few bugs. People get it instantly. Its sales go viral. They test one simple hypothesis, evaluate the returning data, then improve their product. Fewer points of failure? The simpler path turns out to be the smarter one. Fine-tuning can follow. Simplicity wins. Occam's razor can help you develop a business idea or brand image and prepare for an acting audition, sales pitch, or job interview. What about tackling daily small stuff with Occam's razor? First, pause and identify different explanations. Don't just latch on to the very first idea. When facing any problem, list 2 or 3 possible causes or solutions. For example, slow internet, a secret throttling plot, someone downloading a huge file, or your router needs a restart. Now examine the assumptions behind each. Ask, what has to be true for this story to be correct? Plot requires intent and secret policy. Download requires a person in action. Router requires a common glitch. Apply the razor. Choose the explanation with the fewest assumptions to investigate first. It's the crucial part. You're deciding what to test first. Restart the router. It takes a minute. If it fixes it, you're done. You found the answer. If not, move up the ladder methodically. Investigate that next possible scenario. Occam counsels step-by-step elimination guided by simplicity. It's calm and efficient. While Occam's razor is incredibly useful, it has limits. Prefer the simplest explanation that fits all the available evidence, but don't use the razor to justify ignoring facts. If a simple explanation misses a key piece, it is not a good explanation. It's just simple and also wrong. A patient with a cough. The simplest explanation is a common cold, a good starting point. But if there's high fever, extreme fatigue, and a strange rash, the simple theory no longer fits the evidence. Clinging to simplicity would be irresponsible. New evidence forces more complex possibilities. A serious infection, an autoimmune disease. Find the new simplest theory that explains the cough, the fever, the rash. Beware confusing what is simple to you with what is actually simple. Sometimes an idea seems simple because it's familiar, or it fits our long-held beliefs. Relativity is mathematically complex, yet it's simplified a patchwork of older theories. As George Bach said, all models are wrong, but some are useful. Our explanations are simplified models. Use the razor to choose where to start, but stay open to new evidence. The world will always be a complicated place. Modern life is bloated with information, clear, foggy, and outrightly fake. Confusion, illusion, competing ideas. But you do not have to fall victim to this complexity. Time has proven that this tool can help you cut through it. Occam's razor is your personal guide to a clearer mind. It teaches a simple but profound lesson. Start with the simple answer. In a sea of possibilities, the most likely path is often the most direct one. Apply this practical strategy for better decisions every single day, in every aspect of your life. Think about the problems you'll face tomorrow. A disagreement with a friend, a hard project at work, a strange sound from your car heater's fan. Before you jump to drama, take a breath. Ask, what is the simplest possible explanation here? What theory relies on the fewest assumptions? This question is a powerful filter. It can protect you from anxiety and save you from damaging overreactions. True intelligence isn't making things complicated in order to impress. It's making them simpler so as to better communicate. When you explain an idea, build a plan, or solve a problem, again, strive for simplicity. Humans love stories, mysteries, sensations, and dramatic revelations. They have their place. Mostly that's in fiction and entertainment. One of the 21st century's problems, a spin-off of internet culture, is the confusion of fictional and entertainment concepts with grounded reality. But Occam, way before the web, was onto this. Have you already used Occam's razor? Do you habitually? Please tell us how in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to help others find life class.
William of Occam's clear, decisive logic can be traced back to the Greeks, and that original genius of reasoned analysis, the great Aristotle himself, whose toolkit awaits you in episode 21.